Hey guys, OG Albina here, bringing you guys my UPBA Season 1 Week 4 battle against a Zombie and his Portland Popplios, I believe. Yeah, that's the team. Um, but yeah, we were able to pick up our first win last week, which was great. But we still are unfortunately 1-2 on the season. So this is a very important game. We want to bring our record back up to 500, play as much catch up as humanly possible, just so we can hopefully make a push for playoffs here as the season goes on and all that stuff. But yeah, with that being said, let's just jump right into the team builder / team matchup, that kind of thing. Right off the bat, if you did forget our team, it consists of the Aegis/, Mega Gallade, Suicune, Sylveon, Decidueye, Diggersby, Aerodactyl, Hydreigon, Garbodor, and Combuskin. While Zombie's team consists of the Landorus Incarnate with Sheer Force, Victini, Skarmory, Terrakion, Megalodios, Marini, Mamoswine, Electivire, Whimsicott, and Spiritomb, with Z users being Terrakion, Whimsicott, and Marini. So right off the bat, this team offensively is terrifying. This team just kind of runs through us. Offensively, he has things like the Landorus Incarnate, the Victini, Terrakion, Megalodios. Mamoswine is obviously just a ridiculously hard mom to switch into. So his offense is terrifying, though his team isn't the best defensive-wise, in my opinion. Like, he has stuff like the Skarmory. Megalodios can be bulky when it wants to, and he has a couple things with good natural bulk, but other than that, his team is considerably frail, and it is very, very top-heavy. He has those big threats at the top, but his lower-tier mons honestly aren't the scariest. So that's hopefully something we can take advantage of in this matchup right here. But yeah, with that being said, oh no, we're not, there we go, let's fix that a little bit. Cool, live editing. With that being said, let's just jump into our first member, which is going to be our Aegis/. Rocking out with the Shuka Berry, Autotomized, Shadow Ball, Hidden Power, Ice, and Flash Cannon, 140 HP, 172 special attack, and 196 speed, with a timid nature. If I remember correctly, I believe we outspeed a Scarf Terrakion at +2. It's either that or Scarf Victini at +2. Or Landorus Incarnate, that would be 1 point faster, I guess. But I forget exactly, I believe it is Scarf Terrakion, though. Don't quote me on that, I could be completely wrong. I should have wrote down some notes before this team builder. But nonetheless, oh well. And then, yeah, so this honestly just kind of runs through his team. If we can get a +2 and get some chip on some things, we just need everything around. We need the Victini to take maybe a round of, like, Rock Chip, be around 75%, and it'll drop to a Shadow Ball. Same thing with the Latios, it'll drop to a Shadow Ball. And the rest of his team, and Skarmory needs to be around 50-ish%. While Skarmory can't do too much to us back, it can whirlwind us out, potentially. If we have that thing around 50-ish%, we can knock it out with a Shadow Ball, which is great. Hidden Power Ice is for the Landorus, and then Flash Cannon hits pretty much everything else. Oh, and we also need chip on the Spiritomb. I do expect the Spiritomb to be much more Fizz Def, because that's his only Mega Gallade check. So if it is just a max HP Spiritomb, or just, minimal amounts of Spadef, we need that thing around 50% to knock it out with a Shadow Ball. So it is something we have to take into account. Before we set this thing up, we do have to kind of chip things down on his team to put them in range of it. Next up, we have our Mega Gallade here, rocking out with the Gallade Inner Focus ability, Close Combat, Knockoff, Ice Punch, Swords Dance, 28 HP, 228 attack, and 252 speed with the Jolly Nature. So this Gallade honestly is very, very good for his team. Like I said, all he has is going to be the Spiritomb, and then the Whimsicott can soft check it. It can maybe switch him once or twice. But it definitely doesn't want to take an Ice Punch. I believe it has a chance to die to an Ice Punch if it's offensive. But yeah, other than that, we're running just max speed so that we can speed tie with the Latios potentially and hit it with a big Ice Punch right there. Knockoff is for the Victini. Ice Punch also hits the Landorus, and Close Combat hits pretty much everything else on his team really, really hard. If we can chip the Skarmory even a little bit, a +2 Close Combat is going to blow that thing away with a little bit of chip. So yeah. Thirdly, we have our Hydreigon right here, rocking out with the Choice Scarf with the Levitate ability. Dark Pulse, Dragon Pulse, U-Turn, Flamethrower, 36 HP, 252 attack, and 220 speed with a modest nature. So his team really likes switching to Scarf Hydreigon. Whimsicott isn't the best defensive fairy. And if we can chip that thing down with Dark Pulses and U-Turns and stuff like that, we can kind of just spam Dark Pulse in the end game. This gives us a good check to non-Dragon Dance Megalodios if he decides to bring, like a special variant. We can always, come in and throw off a huge Dark Pulse. Even if it's +1, it's going to do a huge, huge chunk to that thing. The speed, I believe, is for, I want to say Mamoswine. Could be wrong, but I believe it was Mamoswine right here. Again, I should have wrote down notes. Not too good. But yeah, that's going to be our Hydreigon right here. Next up, we have a pretty cool Suicune set, rocking out with the Assault Vest, Scald, Ice Beam, Hydro Pump, Mirror Coat, 252 HP, 36 speed def, and 220 speed with a Calm Nature. So I know for a fact this is outpacing an Adamant Mamoswine. I could be outpacing a Jolly, but we lost out on a lot of key bulk, namely our Calm Nature and the 36 investment. That allows us to take like three non-life or birth powers from the Landorus, allows us to not be 2-hit KO'd after rocks by a Grass Knot from the Landorus, which is cool. You know, it gives us a good natural sponge to that. It gives a good natural sponge to things like the Victini, the Megalodios as well if it's a special set. And yeah, it's just a great, you know, pivot in general in this game against his team. I was really close actually to bringing an offensive Suicune, because if you look at Suicune and you look at his team, he doesn't switch into it well at all. Hydro Pump kind of just like, it kind of just comes in, clicks Hydro Pump, clicks Scald, Ice Beam, and something dies. And the Mirror Coat is a great, you know, tech option for like the Whimsicott if it wants to Giga Drain us, or the Victini if it wants to Thunderbolt us, or even the Landorus if we expect it to, you know. One hits or something like that, or like if we can predict an Electivire Volt Switch, we'll switch out and then we can bob something incoming in right after that. So yeah, next up we have our Aerodactyl, rocking out with the Expert Belt and the Unnerve ability, Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Stone Edge, Fire Blast, 252 HP, 108 special attack, and 148 speed with timid nature, with a naive nature, not timid. So this Aerodactyl is going to be our Stealth Rocker. His removal is very limited in this game. He has different options and things, like he has the Landorus, which definitely doesn't want to run it. He has a Skarmory, which can definitely run it. He has the Whimsicott, which can run it, but I believe we pressure those things pretty well with the Expert Belt Fire Blast. We actually 2-hit KO both of those things. We even 2-hit KO Max Spinef Skarmory with you know, our Knight, which is why we end up going naive over Jolly and stuff like that, just in case he was Max Spinef. And if he's like a defensive Skarmory, with a tiny bit of chip, we can actually just knock that thing out with the Fire Blast, which is pretty crazy with the Expert Belt and the Unnerve. And then Edgequake just hits the rest of his team pretty hard, in all honesty. Hits it all pretty decently for super effective coverage. So I figured the Expert Belt was the best item because I don't want to be too chipped with Life Orb. And yeah. Lastly, we have our Sylveon right here, rocking out with the leftovers and the Pixelate ability. Hyper Voice, Wish, Calm Mind, and Protect. 252 HP, 196 defense, and 60 speed def with a bold nature. So this is a great mod in this matchup. He struggles to break it really heavily. He has things like a physical Victini that can push through it. And other than that, he really doesn't have anything on his team that can really, like, really take on or Sylveon super well. And this is going to be our main Megalodios check. The 196 the 196 defense with a bold nature allows us to not be 2-hit KO'd by Psyshock. I forget if it's after rocks or before rocks, but I know we definitely take it, and even if it is before rocks, we can always protect and get that lefties back and stuff like that. And then Hyper Voice is just good neutral coverage versus his team. Skarmory doesn't really, we beat Skarmory 1v1 if it's not Whirlwind or Toxic with Calm Mind and Hyper Voice and stuff like that. We beat Special Victinis. This is just honestly a really good mod versus his team, and I didn't really need a fourth move other than Calm Mind. I thought about maybe Heal Bell, but I don't see a lot of status coming in this game or really coming into play, and I figured Calm Mind could be a nice option potentially. But yeah, with that being said, let's jump into the game. Alright guys, here we are with the battle. So looking at the team that Zombie liked to bring, looks like he went with the Landorus Eye, Wishier Force, the Whimsicott, Skarmory, Victini, Mamoswine, and Spiritomb. So right off the bat, my game plan was to lead off with the Suicune, because Suicune can sponge any one hit and kind of threaten his team offensively. Like I said, he really doesn't have a good, you know, water plus ice switch in all honesty. So I figured that would be my best lead, as I can sponge any hit, even from the, we can take a Banded Bull Strike from the Victini, we can take a Giga Drain or a Life Orb Energy Ball from the Whimsicott, or anything like that. And if the Whimsicott comes in, I might even just, you know, throw off a Mirror Coat turn 1, or even just an Ice Beam, because Ice Beam should 2-hit KO. But right here, I'm going to lead off with my Suicune, as he ends up throwing out his Landorus Eye right here. And right here, turn 1, this is a great lead for me, in all honesty. He's definitely not going to want to stay in, because he can't OHKO me with anything, even if I wasn't Assault Vest. he's going to go for the U-turn. This is going to show that he's actually, even with this crit, it's going to show that he's a more physically offensive Landers, which is something I didn't expect at all. As I believe I just threw off the Scald turn as he goes into his Whimsicott, which I thought was an odd play because I could have pretty easily clicked the Ice Beam there, or I go for the Hydro Pump and I miss. But I figured he would go into something else, and I just want to get as much damage off as possible on something as he ends up, pulling the double out right here into his Mamoswine, as I'm going to switch out myself, I believe, out into my Sylveon right here. Just because it was what kind of took on hits from the Whimsicott the best, in all honesty. As he's going to throw up his Stealth Rocks right here, as I believe I just throw off a nice big Hyper Voice, because I don't think I was, no, I threw up a Wish. Just in case, because I figured he wanted to get up his rocks, and if he was like Adamant Life Orb or something like that, we could throw off a Hyper Voice the next turn and kind of just get off our health. And we can kind of scout out and see what this Mamoswine really is all about, its set and stuff like that. And he's going to throw off an Earthquake, and we see that he is not Life Orb. He could potentially be Adamant from that roll, but I don't know for sure. As I'm going to just throw off a Hyper Voice, we're going to actually do enough to 2-hit KO this thing, which is great. And we're going to get up back up to full with our Wish right here. So he's going to pull the switch out right here. I believe I just throw up another Wish as he goes into his Victini right here, which is fine. We can't really touch this thing very hard initially, so I am just going to throw up my Wish, and I believe I pass it out into my... It wasn't Suicune this time. It was my Hydreigon, because I figured he might predict and go for the Bolt Strike, but he actually makes a great play, and he reads me like a book, and he goes for the Dazzling Gleam, which was a really cool play on his part. I really didn't expect him to make such a hard read so early on, but he definitely caught me there, and he knocked out our Hydreigon, which sucks, because we lose our Scarf for this game, which is super, super unfortunate. But right here, I am just going to go out into my Aerodactyl right here, and I am going to, I believe, just select to get up my Stealth Rocks this turn. If he wants to defog away his own rocks, that's completely fine. I feel like the rocks hurt him more than they hurt me, just chipping things down for my mons and stuff like that in the back. As he actually elects to stay in, and he goes for a Flame Charge. So he calls my bluff right here, because with the Expert Belt, we probably could have knocked him out with the Stone Edge right there. But he is going to be able to be much faster than us, and he's going to throw off a Thunderbolt the next turn, showing us that he is a full special Victini, as he's able to knock us out right here, unfortunately. So we're down pretty big to this Victini really, really early on, which is super unfortunate. I'm going to go into my Suicune right here. Knowing that this is a special variant, I know I can eat up a Thunderbolt pretty easily at this point, and I can just kind of go for a Mirror Coat or, and kill it if he wants to stay in, or, something like that. As he's going to pull a switch out into his Whimsicott again, which in hindsight was probably a better play. I probably should have gone for like the Scald or something like that, but I didn't want to risk like Weakness Policy or something like that. So I did go for the Mirror Coat, and that does fail. Now, expecting him to want to U-turn out, or maybe do some like Prankster, like Lead Seat shenanigans, I believe. Or do I go for another Mirror Coat right here? I'm sorry, this game was a while ago. And he switches out, he gets a little bit of Rock Chip. As I switch out myself, so I'm going to switch out. He doubles, expecting my Sylveon to come back in, so good play on his end again. He's kind of reading me like a book in this really game. We're not, gaining too much ground in this game so far. We caught up our rocks, which is good, but we lost 2 of our more faster mons, and things aren't looking great for us at this point. As I'm going to pull the switch out right here, there's no reason for me to stay in. I don't want to be poisoned or anything like that. I'm going to go right back out into my Suicune. It is getting a little bit chipped, but it's not the biggest deal in the world, as I expect him. Maybe want to get some more hazards, as he ends up going for the defog, and so he defogs his own rocks away, which is fine for me, with me. I think his Mamoswine has a tough time getting up rocks against anything else left on my team. Everything else can knock it out at this point, so this kind of just means that we don't play with rocks, but neither does he, so he isn't getting that residual chip anymore as we switch in and out, which is fine. That's right here, he's going to pull the switch out right into his Whimsicott. As I am just going to go for a Ice Beam, I believe. No, I go for a Scald right here just to get some guaranteed damage. Maybe burn that Skarmory or something like that. As we still do get off a pretty big chunk on the Whimsicott because we get a crit. And we, see that he is a lefties variant and stuff like that. So right here, I believe this is the turn that I go for an Ice Beam. Expecting him to want to switch out because he has seen that we have Mirror Coat, and assuming we probably are Assault Vest, but he goes for the Giga Drain, which was an odd play for sure, but we still do get a big chunk off with this Ice Beam. We don't necessarily knock it out, but we can, chip it down into range of pretty much everything else on our team. But unfortunately, this does mean that we are in range of the next Giga Drain with our Suicune right here, as he does go for that. And he does end up knocking us out right here. So we're down 6-3 early in the early game. At this point, my only way of winning is to either break with my Aegislash so that my Sylveon or Gallade can win, or break with one of my two of my members so that one of them can win. The most likely members, in my opinion, to sweep at this point are going to be my Sylveon and my Aegislash. I'm gonna go for the Sylveon route. I kind of want to go into my Aegislash right here, and I'm not gonna go for the Autotomize this turn because I felt like that would be just a little bit too early just to show my moveset like that. As right here, he's gonna go for the Memento, as I believe I just went for the Flash Cannon at this point, which obviously isn't gonna hit anything because there's no target on the field. But we are able to at least, close the gap a little bit. As he's going to go into his Landers right here. And I don't have King Shield. I don't have, and I'm at -2, so I couldn't even knock this thing out with a Hidden Power Ice at this point. So I'm going to pull the switch out into my Sylveon. As right here, he's going to go for the Earthquake, which shows us that he is a physical Landers, in fact. But he isn't Life Orb that we saw from earlier. And actually, after Lefties from full, we aren't 2-hit KO'd by this Earthquake. So just a heads up, we're about 6 minutes through this game. It gets a lot longer right here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to speed things up a little bit because things get a little bit stally at this point. Because being that I saw this was a physical Landorus, I know that the Victini is special. And I know I can kill the Mamoswine in one hit. I kind of just go for game right here in all honesty. As I end up getting up a Calm Mind as we get our Wish back right here, which lets me not be 2-hit KO'd from this range by the Blue Flare, and we're up at +1/+1. As right here, he's going to pull the switch out, realizing like, oh no, this isn't a winning battle. I don't know if I can win this endeavor right here. As I end up going for the Wish right here, getting back a tiny bit of health, as right here, he is going to go for the Icicle Crash. I assume trying to get maybe a flinch or something like that, but even a crit wouldn't have taken us out at that range. So we are just going to throw off a Hyper Voice, and we're going to get a big chunk back with our Wish right here, which is great. After Lefties, we're pretty much at full. We're very close. As right here, he's going to pull a switch out into his Skarmory. As I believe right here, he just goes straight for the Brave Bird, showing us that he likely doesn't have Whirlwind and he likely does not have Toxic, which is great. Because I can throw off a Hyper Voice right here, gauge damage. It does a pretty big chunk to it, in all honesty. If we can get to +2, we can 2-hit KO that thing, which is great. And then Brave Bird Recoil is going to be chipping him down as well. This isn't really an endeavor we can really lose 1v1 as long as we don't get crit when we play our wishes correctly. As right here, I'm going to go for a Wish, and I believe the next turn I just throw off a Safe Protect because there was no reason for me to risk a roll and get knocked out by this, and it'll just get me the most health overall. Oh, no, I don't. I do risk it. That wasn't a great play. Maybe because I knew I would live without a crit, but I am going to throw off the Hyper Voice, and I'm going to knock out this Skarmory right here. So game is getting widened down. We're, slowly pushing right back. And we are back up above it, like around 60-ish%. Right here, he's going to go into his Landorus. This is his best bet of breaking through me at this point because Victini is special. And, the rest of his team just kind of loses to this at this point. I forgot to take off the Mamoswine off the layout. I should probably do that. There you go. So right here, I'm just going to throw up a Wish and throw up another Protect. My goal is to get back up to full on this thing, if at all humanly possible. And at this point, this game has become don't get crit. If I cannot get crit, I can honestly just win this game. The only problem is that Spirit Tomb in the back. I do need this for the Spirit Tomb in order to really beat it. I can potentially beat it with my Aegislash if I can chip it down with my Gallade, but that's just a matter of chipping it down with my Gallade, which can be a little iffy. So right here, I am just going to get back up to pretty much full with a Protect right here. And I believe I throw off another Wish right here. Again, these turns all kind of blend together in all honesty. Nope, I throw up a Hyper Voice, and I do a huge chunk to this thing at +1. As it does take, a pretty decent chunk. And this turn, I'm going to throw off a Protect to guarantee myself out of range of a non-crit Earthquake. And slowly over time, too, we're also kind of wearing down his Earthquake PP as well, so he can't just keep spamming it. So right here, we are going to be able to throw off a Wish as this Landorus goes for another EQ. We live on 26 health and get a little bit of Lefty's recovery, and then we're obviously going to go for a Protect right here. And I found out after this game, this Landorus was Choice Scarfed, so there wasn't, much way it was breaking through. If it was Sword Stance, we honestly kind of probably lost at this point as well, maybe. We did still have our Gallade in the back. As long as it didn't get up a Dual Dance, we wouldn't have lost to it, but it would have definitely beaten our Sylveon 1v1 because we couldn't have kept up with that. But yeah, I'm going to throw up another Wish. We're slowly but surely gaining back some health right here, and we're going to get up to around 70-ish, 80% right here with the Wish plus the leftovers. I'd say about 90, actually. Yeah, but the Sylveon's just proven to be a huge nuisance for his team, especially being that he decided to bring a special Victini opposed to a physical one. At this point, we saw his whole moveset, so I know he can't break through me without a crit. He has the Flame Charge, Blue Flare, Thunderbolt, and Dazzling Gleam, which we eat up pretty easily, honestly. As right here, I am just going to go for another Hyper Voice, I believe, eventually picking this off, because we got back up to full. This is as high as our health was going to get at this point, as we are able to take out that Landorus, which is a huge threat versus our team. And it honestly, as long as we don't get crit with our Sylveon, it's looking like this game is pretty much over at this point. As right here, he's going to go for a Blue Flare. He's going to get the burn, unfortunately, which does nullify our lefties, which is going to prolong this game a bunch, actually. So I'm going to even see if I can speed it up a little bit faster, just to see if we can go up. And right here on my Protect, he's going to make a good play, and he's going to go for the Flame Charge. Blue Flare, he's already used a couple of them, and if he keeps using them on my Protect, he'll actually eventually run out of PP on it. So that would definitely not be good. But right here, he's going to go for the Blue Flare, and he's going to get the crit. But thankfully, we were out of range. So that was the first crit that he's gotten. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten more at this point. But I am going to go for a Protect right here and get, back up to the range where we were at before. And then another Wish and a Protect, and we should be back at full. And we could potentially get up another Calm Mind. I believe I need to get +3 to 2-hit KO this thing, depending on its HP advancement. So that's going to be the goal I'm going to go for, the range I'm going to go for, just to knock it out with 2 hits. As right here, he's going to go for the Dazzling Gleam, and I'm going to go for the Calm Mind, calling him to not go for the Blue Flare, expecting the Protect, and I was out of range of a crit right there, so we did get the most out of that turn, and we could potentially use that Protect to stall out another Blue Flare in a second, which right here we're going to do right here, and he is going to go for the Blue Flare, so we do get those sequence of plays right there, and we are able to, waste some moves on that thing. So right here, he's going to go for a Blue Flare. It's not doing anything at this point, being that we're +2. As I am going to throw up a Wish, and I believe I throw up another Calm Mind right here. As he goes for the Flame Charge, expecting us to Protect again, but again, unless he crit, there was no way that we were dying to that. As I am going to get to +3 at this point, I believe, and we are going to get back up pretty high. And then this next turn, I believe I throw up another Wish, just in case. No, Protect, just to try and waste another Blue Flare, because if we can stall all those out, the game is sealed. We can't lose at that point. With our Sylveon, we just win the game. And right here, he's going to go for the Blue Flare, and I am going to go for the Hyper Voice right here, and we're going to see that is a 2-hit KO at this point, which is great. One more of those, and we can potentially knock this thing out. As right here, he's going to go for the Blue Flare. I believe I went for the Wish right here, and all honesty, I probably shouldn't have. I lived a crit from that range, and I would have knocked out the Spirit Tomb in one hit. As right here, Zombie is just going to forfeit at this point, just because he knows that this game, it can't be won unless he crits, and it was just taking up a bunch of time. No hard feelings or anything like that. It just, he kind of realized that it was a losing battle at that point, so no fault to him for that. I definitely understand why he did that. But that is going to be a 3-0 win in our favor. We started off playing that early game pretty sloppy. Not our best performance, honestly, but we were able to bring it back by good positioning and being able to get in our Sylveon and kind of taking advantage of his choices in prep and stuff like that. So that is a 3-0 dub. We are up to 2-2, which is great. The comeback has started. Next week we take on John Jr., which is definitely always a fun time. I love playing John. Believe we are 2-1 versus him right now. We've played him 3 times, and every time we play him, it's a great game. Very talented dude, so I'm excited for that. If you guys want to catch that next week as it goes up, be sure to subscribe so you can catch it then. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Later.